Hey there movie lovers, welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're stepping onto the mat with some classic trivia from the 1984 underdog favourite, The Karate Kid. This feel-good film isn't just about crane kicks and tournament trophies, it's packed with heart, unforgettable characters, and lessons that go far beyond karate. But how much do you really know about what happened behind the scenes? From surprising casting choices to iconic moments that almost never happened. We're breaking it all down. So tie your headband, wax on, wax off, and let's kick off 20 things you never knew about the Karate Kid. In early drafts of the screenplay, Daniel's surname wasn't LaRusso at all, it was Weber. Changing his name to LaRusso helped give the character a clearer Italian-American identity. And if Daniel Weber wasn't boring enough, Johnny Lawrence nearly went by an even more forgettable name. In early versions, he was called Donald Rice, a name that hardly carries the menace or swagger of the blonde karate-chopping bully audiences came to love or hate. Although You're the Best is forever associated with the fighting montage during the All Valley Karate Tournament, Joe Esposito's song was originally written by Bill Conti and Ali Willis for Rocky III, before ultimately being replaced by Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. Esposito later revealed that the song was also turned down for Flashdance, where it was replaced by Michael Sembello's Maniac. The Karate Kid was not originally meant to end with Daniel's victory over Johnny at the tournament. The parking lot confrontation between Kreese and Miyagi, which opens The Karate Kid Part 2, was intended to serve as the film's original conclusion. Both B.B. Hiller's novelization and early drafts of the script end with Miyagi tweaking Kreese's nose, followed by the Cobra Kai students dropping their belts at the feet of their defeated leader. In the early 1980s, Pat Morita was best known for his comedic role as Arnold, the restaurant owner on Happy Days. Morita was Avildsen's first choice to play Mr. Miyagi. However, producer Jerry Weintraub initially felt audiences would struggle to take him seriously because of his comedy background. After Morita adopted a Japanese accent for his screen test, Weintraub was impressed and reconsidered, leading to Morita being cast in the role. Ralph Macchio's co-star William Zabka later revealed that producer Jerry Weintraub had initially offered the role of Daniel LaRusso to both Sean Penn and Charlie Sheen, though the reasons for their refusals remain unknown. The part was also auditioned for by Clint Eastwood's son, Kyle Eastwood. Before Pat Morita was cast as the iconic role of Mr. Miyagi, two other highly respected Japanese actors were considered. Toshiro Mifune delivered a strong audition, but his performance was ultimately judged to be too serious for the part. Meiko Iwamatsu was later considered, but he was already committed to Conan the Destroyer. Before the film's release, Columbia Studio executives wanted director John Avildsen to remove the scene in which a drunk Mr. Miyagi mourns the death of his wife on their wedding anniversary. Avildsen was determined to keep the moment and battled relentlessly with the studio to ensure it remained in the film. He later explained in an interview that the emotional scene was ultimately what earned Pat Morita an Academy Award nomination for his portrayal of Mr. Miyagi. The original script featured two confrontations in the school between Daniel and Johnny that were ultimately cut from the finished film. The first was set in the cafeteria, and as Daniel and Ali prepared to sit down, Johnny rushed over and discreetly placed a piece of blueberry pie on Daniel's chair. When Daniel stood up moments later, his trousers were covered in blueberries, leaving him both humiliated and furious. In a bold act of retaliation, Daniel smeared what remained of the pie across Johnny's shirt, triggering a burst of chaos. The second was after taking a drink from a water fountain. Daniel found himself face to face with Johnny once again and chose to stand his ground by challenging the teachings of Cobra Kai. Pat Johnson was responsible for choreographing the fight scenes. A respected karate expert, he also appeared on screen as the referee during the film's final match. Ralph Macchio has said that the bruise visible on his chin was genuine, explaining that it was caused by a roundhouse kick he took during the Halloween night fight scene, involving teenagers dressed in skeleton costumes. Producer Jerry Weintraub suggested that Pat Morita's credit in the film should include his given name, Noriyuki, in order to make it sound more ethnic. As a result, the role of Mr. Miyagi is credited to Noriyuki Pat Morita. It has long been rumoured that Chuck Norris was initially considered for the role of Cobra Kai sensei John Kreese, but declined it because he did not want to be associated with a character who portrayed martial arts in such a cruel and aggressive manner. However, Norris later stated that he was never actually offered the part, though he believed he would have turned it down for those exact reasons. There has been an examination of whether the crane kick would have been legal under the rules of a typical karate tournament. It has been noted that competition regulations generally prohibit competitors from striking an opponent with full power. A karate competition expert concluded that, in most cases, Daniel would likely have been disqualified for using the move. The Coca-Cola company, who owned Columbia Pictures at the time, insisted that several of its products appear on screen during the film. Ralph Macchio objected to this, particularly a breakfast scene in which he was required to mention Minute Maid, the orange juice brand owned by Coca-Cola at the time. Macchio later explained in an interview that he deliberately covered the Sprite logo in his hand during one scene as a form of protest. When asked to reshoot it, he revealed the logo for as little screen time as possible. The classic yellow car that Mr. Miyagi presents to Daniel on his 16th birthday is a 1947 Ford Super Deluxe. It was given to Ralph Macchio as a memento and a gesture of thanks. Macchio still owns the vehicle to this day. It has since appeared in the 2018 sequel series Cobra Kai, but had to have a few new parts, even a new engine. The tournament semi-finalists include Lawrence, Brown, LaRusso and Vidal. He is only credited as karate semi-finalist, but the character is played by black belt Daryl Vidal. Today, Vidal is a 10th degree black belt grandmaster and one of the most respected instructors in the sport. Earlier, Mr. Miyagi is seen performing the crane kick atop a wooden post on the beach. However, it was not Pat Morita on the post. The stunt was performed by the semi-finalist Daryl Vidal. The soundtrack of Karate Kid also sneaks in a bit of on-screen synergy, with the inclusion of No Shelter by the band Broken Edge. Rather than simply appearing on the album, the song is woven directly into the film during the Halloween dance scene, where Broken Edge can be seen performing live on stage. There was a Remco Karate Kid action figure collection. They each came with an interactive accessory, like a breakable wall or boards. What made the series unique was its auto-release tri-action, meaning that each figure could throw some form of punch or kick, and could also twist at the waist. All of this was achieved with the push of the button on the back, or simply twisting the body left and right. The Karate Kid spawned a franchise that began with the 1984 original and grew into a long-running saga that includes 3 direct sequels, a 1994 spin-off, The Next Karate Kid, a 2010 remake starring Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, and 2025's Karate Kid Legends, in which Chan and Macchio reprise their roles from the franchise. There is also the hugely successful series Cobra Kai. The series revived the franchise by continuing the story decades later, expanding the mythology and re-examining the original rivalry from new and often unexpected viewpoints. There was also an animated series in 1989, and various video games have been released over the years. Combining Dennis Haskins from Saved by the Bell, much of the Karate Kid's core cast and the band No More Kings resulted in the brilliant self-aware 2007 music video for Sweep the Leg. The video leans hard into nostalgia and humour, featuring Haskins as a hilariously authoritarian karate sensei, alongside appearances by original cast members, including William Zabka and Martin Kove. It's packed with in-jokes and loving nods to the film. Here are some of the glaring continuity errors that can be spotted throughout the film. Daniel has cuts and scrapes during the wax-on, wax-off scene at Mr. Miyagi's house. His wounds then disappear when he and Ali go to golf and stuff, and reappear the next day in time for the sand the floor scene at Mr. Miyagi's, this time looking even worse. In the scene where Daniel catches the fly in the chopsticks, for the first few cuts, the fly is somewhere in the middle of the chopstick. In a later angle, the fly is held between the very tips of the chopsticks. And finally, when Daniel turns up to find out he has to paint the house, the drawing of the house on the note changes size dramatically when looked at from the inside. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about the Karate Kid. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.